What's up, everybody out there in Facebook land? Sorry for the delay there. I was trying to make sure that my partner in crime there, Chuck Thokey, is able to join us for our event today. We're going to be talking a little power hour, how we get better at sales and improve our game a little bit. We have an event coming up in Philadelphia on August 23rd and 24th. It's our Top Rep Rush event, which is an event for sales reps and sales leaders to improve their game and have that final push towards the end of the year, how dialogue changes whenever we're dealing with the end of the year versus the beginning of the year. And so we want to help you out with that. We're going to work today a little bit on what those components are and give you guys some help. So I'm just making sure that Chuck can get in here and get him on board. Let's see who all's out there. We got a couple people watching. We're going to give everybody a few chances to get in. If you can, go ahead and type in, hey, it's so-and-so from somewhere. Where are you guys at? Where are you located? We're going to talk a lot of sales today. If you have a question about sales today, let's have that as well. We want to make sure that we address some things, that whatever it is that you might be dealing with right now when it comes to sales. Hey, it says Facebook user. I don't know who it is. You didn't give approval to StreamYard to see your profile, but good to have you on board. Hey, there comes Chuck, my guy. He's working on it. See if he gets his camera going. There we go. That's our guy. I mean, he can sell like crazy, but technology, that part of it.
Not my thing.
So, hey, welcome aboard, Chuck.
I'm excited to be here.
Our first official live power hour. And just so we set the tone correctly, this is something that we teach at our Top Rep events, is learning what it is that we teach at Top Rep and then taking it back and spending an hour at least once a week and ideally once a day improving your game. And right. A lot of teams have taken this back. They've applied it to what they do. And so our advice is normally, hey, we're going to coach, we're going to teach you something for about half an hour, and then you're going to practice it. You're going to work on it. You're going to implement it. You're going to take notes about it. You're going to ingrain it into your brain, because that's the part where it's a challenge. Is we hear all this great information all the time, and we don't always embed it into what we're doing. So that's what we want to help you with a little bit today. Chuck, how are you today?
Man, I am doing fantastic. I really am. I'm excited for this. I'm excited for Top Rep and everything else that's going on with the program itself.
Yeah, I got to go to the One Industry, One Model event, and they're talking about how, as an industry in storm restoration, we need to be looking at things a little bit more on the retail side of things, just with what's going on with insurance companies, what's going on with technology. It's going to have an impact on our industry over the next 2 or 3 years, and we better have our game straight. And it's been pretty cool because we've been teaching that for about 8 years now, that the insurance claim is neat, right? But that's still a builder grade roof. Let's put something amazing and special on and actually learn some sales technique and hit a home run every time I'm up to bat instead of a bunch of singles. Correct. And so tell guys why you believe so strongly in this Top Rep thing. Like, you and I got together, we brought each of our talents together, each of our beliefs together, we brought it together. And you are the voice, man. There ain't no doubt about it. You are, every single day there's something you're sharing out there that's valuable. Why this thing? Why is that the thing that you went, all right, I'm putting it all in on that?
We finally get to show the experience that people need to see in the house. And I'm sure you've seen it. I've seen it when we're riding with reps, where it's so boring. They're doing the process, but it is like, oh my gosh, this is almost painful to listen to. And so when you speak and when I speak, they're at Top Rep, people actually get to see what it's supposed to look like in the house, the feeling and the emotion that we bring. It's so much different even than other trainers and other coaches out there, that we have that opportunity to show people how you and I did it in the house, how we train people to do it in the house, and why we can elevate the level of performance quite simply by the way we talk, the way we act, and the way we present in the house.
Yeah, it's one of those things that, as we go out and we meet with clients, a lot of times we'll go on site with them and do some top rep training, private ones for these larger companies and things like that. And you'll see their sales leader doing their coaching. They're just like regurgitating information. They're not truly coaching and embedding. And we want people to understand the importance of the actual coaching aspect of things as much as the content itself. And so that's why we have two tracks, right? We have a sales leader track where we're teaching that type of stuff, how to be a better coach, a better teacher, better leader. And then we have the salesperson track where they get to see us give it from the stage, see us role play a little bit so that they can see exactly how it should go. And then they're going to go fight it out. They're going to go fight it out in dog fights. They're going to practice. They're going to role play what they just learned right then and there. They're going to do that 6 times throughout the process because we have a flight plan that has 6 stages to it. And they're going to compete with a score. Somebody's going to win that badass top rep belt. But that's our event. It's in Philadelphia. There is a coupon code that is available through this evening. You can borrow it off of the One Industry One Model event. 1I1M 150. You can save $150 today by going in and putting that code in and joining us in Philadelphia for Top Rep. It's going to be off the charts. Because
wow, that's got to be our biggest discount to date on this. That's great.
Yeah, it was something that we did at One Industry One Model. The guys just absolutely loved what we talked about, and I want to talk about that, a little bit of that today. We have this flight plan, like we follow this. Hey, this is what you're doing, how you're doing it, why you're doing it at this stage in the process, right? So you have the beginning, the systems check, the pre-flight check, the takeoff, the engaging the target, aligning them in the crosshairs, and taking the shot. Right, that's makes it easy to remember. Think of it as like a plane flight or a fighter pilot flight. A little bit of Top Gun vibe there, mm-hmm. And that's what we're doing. So it makes it easy to remember. I want to kind of focus on the pre-flight check today. Systems check is being prepared and having the right energy and those things. Or would you rather start there? Like, do you want to do like a 6-week series on the actual, like, this is the flight plan and this is what you're trying to accomplish?
I think that would be great.
Awesome. Let's do this. I actually have it on my screen right here. Okay. So I'm going to share my screen. I think I can do that. I'm going to share that one right there. So we're going to focus right now on the systems check. All right. So you got this. This is part of the problem, I think, with a lot of sales folks is they're out there running off half-cocked. There's no real like format to what they're doing. They're really letting the buyer or the homeowner drive the conversation, and they're just trying to answer questions that are out of order most times. And we want to stay on a format. If we have the right format, use the right psychology, knowing human behavior, we're going to lead them through a proper solution selling process where we're the only logical choice. So let's talk about system checks. You got to be prepared. You're going to be on stage. You got to be observant, and confidence and energy. And so we'll take screen share down right now, but that's what we're going to be looking at. Like, what do we do before we even get there? And when we first get there, what should it be like? So Chuck, why don't you start us off with like, what does it look like to be prepared?
Well, first of all, what most sales reps don't understand is that appointment starts the day prior when they have to get ready for it. Whether it's, getting all of your clothes ready. Here's what really frustrates me many times when I'm riding with a rep is they talk about all the cool stuff they have and all the cool stuff they get to do. And then they pull out their company shirt and it looks like they just threw it into a hamper. It's like, how did you pay for all that stuff? Oh, I'm selling with this shirt right here that you obviously don't care about. And so we see that so often where they put very little emphasis on what they actually do to get their money versus what they do with the money. So making sure that your shirts and your all of your the stuff that you're going to wear is ready to go, that you have it laid out, but also your electronics need to be charged. Murphy's Law says if you want to make that sale, just forget to charge your iPad because you can't sign it, So,
Yeah, guaranteed. Got one sold, got 1% left. I hope we can do this fast, right? In a better hurry. And boom, right at the signing part. Oh man, right? Oh, I guess I'll have to come back. That whole idea of being a Boy Scout, right? Like, hey, let's just get prepared before we ever even go out there, that we know the address and where we're going. It's not out in the middle of a cornfield somewhere. Got all my stuff charged. I look like a pro, man. I'm like a clean clothes. Actually, I had two hats. I had my inspection hat, is sweaty, gross, nasty, but then I had the closing hat. Right? Like that thing was clean, and if it got anything on it, boom, in the garbage. There's a new closing hat. It's going to be perfect and clean whenever I go in, because we are on stage. We're on stage from the second we pull up to that house, and even before we go inside, especially if you're on an appointment, right? Check like appointment. That homeowner, if they're anything like my parents at all, they're like looking at their watch. That dude's supposed to be here at 8 o'clock, so it's now 7:32. Is he here yet? Like he's looking. They're looking outside, just waiting for when you pull up. And when you do pull up, they're like peeking through the blinds. They're looking out the window. What do you look like? What should that be like, Chuck?
So when we pull up, we want to make sure that and we used to say you want to park on the street, and yes, you do. It's not that big a deal. If you can park on the street, park on the street. If you do pull into the driveway, do not pull all the way up to the garage door. Pull just enough that you're not blocking the sidewalk, but that you're not all the way up into their yard. And so when you do park, you only have about 30 seconds to get out of your car. Like you just mentioned, they're always watching you, and especially now, everybody's got these Ring doorbells. I mean, their phone goes off when you pull into their driveway, and so they pick it up and automatically they see you. So they're watching you, whether you think they are or not. They're not only watching you, now they're videotaping you. So, I mean, you have to get out of your car and have a little swagger to you.
Yeah, that's that confidence and energy. I don't even like pulling in the driveway. I like being on the street, because if I'm on the street, I can prepare things in a way that I'm on stage. I'm about to put on a show. It's going to be a real show. It's not fake, but it's a real show. And you're going to see me. You're going to know I'm there. You're going to see something different about my truck. We teach about what that looks like at Top Rep. And I'm going to slam a door on my vehicle before I walk up to the house, and everybody's going to look outside. And they're going to go, what's going on over there? Time to go outside and go check the mail, mow my yard, clean out the garage, because humans are naturally nosy. It's kind of funny. I got a package the other day at my house, and my house is hard to see. Like, you cannot see my house very easily. Maybe if you're really looking right angle, you can see what's going on. Like, we're off the road a bit. And I get this phone call from a neighbor. A neighbor's like, hey, man, I saw you got a big Amazon package today. What'd you get? Like, dude, what are you doing? Watching me all the time? Like, this is crazy. But he's just that interested. So be aware that people are watching. They're watching way more than you think they are. And from that second you pull up in that neighborhood, you are on stage, and everything you do is being analyzed. So that last, before the confidence and energy part, like before we get there, we got to get out of the truck. And even before we get out of the truck, we're looking, right? We're watching that house and like, what can I observe about this place that's going to get me to a place of rapport as quickly as possible? And so I'm always looking, what is it that I could talk about? Do they have a bunch of kids' toys out in the yard? Is there a batting cage in the back? Is there a sign on their vehicle of what they do for a living? Do they have a bunch of ATVs and fishing boats and stuff like dude, if they got that, they're my buddy in 30 seconds. I guarantee it, because that's my kind of jam. Or if they got golf gear, like that's going to be another thing. Like, do they have a logo of some sports team? All of those are the things you go, that's the first thing we're going to talk about. We're going to talk about that thing that I can get on the same page with him about, and not be a salesperson. We got to get past salesperson as fast as possible when we get up there. And so we need to be observant first. That's that prepping part. That's why it's called systems check. We're prepping before we actually have the conversation. What am I going to have a conversation about? And as we're walking, what does that look like as we're walking up, Chuck? Like, what should that be like?
So you have to be very confident. You got to have a smile on your face. Be very brisk. You want to be excited to be there. not kind of moping your way up to the door where you're like, man, just another appointment. You want to make this feel like it's the first appointment you've ever done. I'm so excited to be here. And when you go up and you ring that ring doorbell, take a couple steps back. Remember, they want to see you. They want to see who's at their door. Also, chances are you might be a really tall guy and you knock on the door, ring the doorbell, and that it's a little old lady that's about 4 foot nothing, and she's looking way up at you. Very intimidating. So we want to kind of step back a little bit. But go ahead. Sorry.
No, go ahead. Go ahead.
So the most important thing is, and everybody says, Chuck, I don't want to be scripted. I don't want to be scripted. Here's why we want to script. For one, we script people because we hire a lot of salespeople. We can't sit there and say, every salesperson I have knows exactly how to say hi to a homeowner. We script them so that when an issue comes up or something comes up that you're not expecting. I mean, this is why I love this industry so much, is I never know what to expect. Just recently, we knocked on a door, and an elderly gentleman with nothing but his underwear on opens the door. I mean, this happens. You have no idea who's going to answer this door. And if you're caught off guard and you're like, and you start to sound like Elmer Fudd, it kind of puts you behind. But we knew exactly what to say. I mean, we're very not only just scripted, but we just understand what needs to be said right then and there to work our way into the door.
Yeah, that's going to be, I think, what we should talk about next week. That's that pre-flight check. Everything we're talking about right now is the first setup before that first interaction. Like, what all should happen before we actually knock on the door. And even that, knocking on the door, they still haven't interacted with us yet. What's next? Right? I got to move back from the door. I got to blade my stance. I have to have a smile on my face. I need to have something in my hand that they're like, what is that? And maybe I want it and maybe I don't. And maybe they're going to show me something I didn't know before. Maybe I've got a vest on so I look like something other than a roofer and I look like the electrical guy. So maybe I should open the door. There's all these different things that are going to give you a big advantage to actually performing that sale in a successful way with the upfront, the systems check, and being prepared. So what I want to concentrate on today for the people that are watching and listening is the observant part. Okay. Being prepared, that's something that you just got to do and make it part of what you do. Maybe you have a checklist or a reminder every night to plug in all your stuff, every morning to go through this quick checklist before you head out the door. Your on-stage aspect of what you do, how do you make your setup unique and different from everybody else? But the observant part, that's a little bit different. What are you aiming for? Why are you aiming for it? And that's actually something you can practice. And that's what we want to get across today is what can we practice after Chuck and I get done immediately with somebody else in our office as a peer that we can get better at what we do. So I thought maybe we would role play a little bit, Chuck, if that's cool with you.
Do it.
So I'm getting out of the truck. I got my truck all set up. I got cones and a flashing light, and I slam my door and all that stuff. Everybody looks outside, and that dude's walking up the driveway with a purpose. He's excited. As I'm walking up that driveway, I'm looking around, and I notice that this yard is badass. Like, it's mowed in two directions and then cross hatch, right? Like diagonals and the whole bit. His landscaping is immaculate, and everything's trimmed just perfectly. And I'm like, okay. That's his motivation. That's his thing. That you can tell this dude's probably mowing his yard twice a week, and he's out there all the time picking out weeds and all the other good stuff. And he's a mulch, first guy in the neighborhood with mulch in every year. Okay, that's something that guy's going to want to talk about. So as I approach that door, mental catalog, walk up to the door, and Chuck, you're going to be a homeowner, right? Okay.
All right.
So I'm going to knock on the door, and we'll kind of role play a little bit. But those of you that are out there listening, watching what we're doing today, I want you to do what I just did and pick a thing. I picked the lawn, you pick something else. Kids' toys, hunting equipment, batting cage, whatever that thing may be, and walk it through like I just did. And then take one of the other people and say, hey, you be the homeowner, I'll be the sales rep, and I'm going to have my first interaction with you. Okay? And so that's what we're gonna do. I walk up, okay, I got it, yard, sweet, perfect. Knock, knock, knock.
Hello. Yes.
Hey, Chuck, super awesome to see you today. I'm here for an appointment with Game Day Construction, and I'm sure the office called you and let you know what I was here for. They set expectations, right?
Yeah, I think so.
Okay,
Yeah.
cool, great. Yeah, before I get to any of that, though, I was walking up to your house. You have the nicest yard I have seen all year long. Do you do that yourself, or do you have somebody else do it for you?
We have it sprayed, but I cut it myself. Yeah.
Like you, I noticed you're like back and forth, and then you have the diagonals and stuff. Is that is that something that you just really proud of it? Is it like something you grew up with? What made it where you want to be like that with your yard?
I just love the landscaping piece of what it gets me out of the house, gets me away from the wife and kids sometimes. It's just me time. I
I can
put
hear
my
you on that one.
earphones in and it's me time.
Now, is there a reason that you mow it in that particular pattern? Is there some kind of science for it, or is it just because it looks good?
It just looks good.
Yeah, it does. That is true, no doubt about it. I've seen sometimes with like baseball fields, it looks like a baseball field. First off, like it just looks awesome, golf course quality, well done. But sometimes they do it that way, and they'll change the patterns so that they don't have the same piece of grass getting run over with the same tires every single time. Is that any part of it too?
It is, yeah. I mean, it's wonderful what you can learn from YouTube.
Oh yeah, yeah, exactly. As a matter of fact, I'm on YouTube all the time. I'm teaching people about roofs and their siding and the exteriors of their home and how to find a great contractor and things like that. Got a question for you.
Yeah.
When I get done today, could we take a walk around your yard? I'd like to learn more about how you take care of your yard because I'm trying to get mine up. And I got one kind of embarrassed by, to be honest with you. I'd like to get better. Could you help me with that?
Absolutely. Yeah, I'd love to.
Awesome. Cool. All right. So I'm going to go ahead and get started and boom, off I go. Right. That took what, 2, 3 minutes?
Not even that. Yeah. Very
And
quick.
Chuck and I are buddies now. We're
That's right.
buddies. And Chuck knows at the end of this whole thing, he's going to get to tell me all about his yard, right? He's not going to tell me all about his yard if he doesn't go with me. Like I set him up for that part right there. That's what he wants to do more than anything else. So practice that, role play that, think about the words that you use. I just did that totally off the cuff. And it would sound different each and every time I talk about a yard because it's going to have to do with the input I get back from the home. Where Chuck was like, no, I just do it so it's pretty. I didn't know for sure which way he was going to go. And so I was able to add a little bit. Oh, yeah, that is another part of the reason. And so those things make a huge difference in being able to hold a conversation. Because, Chuck, who do people want to talk about the most?
Themselves.
Yeah. And if we can get that out, we go from being a salesperson to hopefully at least an acquaintance and maybe a friend. And who do people buy from?
People they like and trust.
Exactly. And so, what do you guys think of what we shared today? Let's have a few comments out there. Is there anything that you guys do that's unique, different? Some of you may be watching, I think, on LinkedIn or YouTube. Those comments we won't see until later. We'll get back to you on those. But those of you that are on Facebook, go ahead and throw a comment in there. What do you struggle with prior to the call? How do you look when you get to the door? Are you up there with your shoulders back, smiling, and there's a snap to what you're doing? Or you're like, I gotta knock on, or I gotta run another appointment, or here we go again. Like if you have that already, you're dead in the water. Anything anybody does unique out there, it's like different. And like, hey, I do something different than what everybody else does. I know you guys probably not gonna want to share that because it's different, it's unique, it's you. It's only the people here. And this is super funny. I was at this event, Chuck, and one of the folks there was Roof Hawk. I don't know if anybody's seen Roof Hawk yet or not, but it's a drone program. You fly and take the pictures of the house on top, and it'll identify all the damage. It is amazing. And so The guy there, Ryan, we got to talking. Actually, like, I didn't think I was going to like him because he's like Mr. Computer, that he's data nerd. And I'm like, no, I do like him because his data is valuable. And he was talking about like this kind of stuff and how that plays with the technology that they do. And you walk up there with a box like a drone inside of it, and it's just in your hand, and nobody knows what that box is. They want to know what that box is. Like, what's that guy got? He got a gift for me, a present for me. It was really smart of him. But the thing he shared with me that was something I thought was different and I hadn't heard before. The fact that he's a data nerd makes me believe this. They have done the research, pulled and scraped the web and all that other stuff that crazy computer people do. And they have ascertained that there is 108,000 plus or minus about 2,000 roofing contractors out there in the United States where they get more than 50% of their revenue from roofing. And that shocked me. I thought it was going to be more. What about you, Chuck? Do you think it would be more than 108,000? I mean, the entire U.S.?
I absolutely has to be.
Okay, so I thought so too. He's like, nope, I'll prove it to you. And then I said, well, how about this storm restoration thing? Have you guys like dug into that and what that is? He goes, yep, absolutely. Because somebody made a comment that they had heard that there was 15,000 roofing contractors in Dallas, Texas. And I went, that number gets bigger every year. Like every year that number gets bigger. It used to be 1,000, then it was 3, then it was 5, then it was 7. And now there's some dude just flies out with a number like 15,000. And Ryan, like, he looks over at me and goes, no. And I said, well, what is it? And what do you know? He's like, yeah, it's 11,000. There's an 11,000 insurance restoration contractors that earn more than 50% of their revenue from roofing in the United States. Not in Dallas, in the United States. It is a small group of folks. Most of them do it the same. How do you get different? You'll stand out like a sore thumb because you'll be a big fish in a small pond, a much smaller pond than you imagine. So, Chuck, any last and final words on system checking, kind of getting ready for our first interaction with a client?
You just have to show the confidence. Remember that people make their first impression based on the way that somebody walks. So they're going to be watching you, and they're going to be watching your body language, who you are. Do they even like you before you've ever even put a knuckle on their door? That's how scary this can be. And some sales reps don't look at that. They don't look at it until the door opens. Like, oh, the curtain opened. The curtain opened 4 minutes ago.
Oh, yeah, exactly. You were on stage a long time ago. You didn't even realize it. So our challenge to you is to take this, be observant of something. It can be completely fake. Just make it up. Hey, I saw this. I'm going to come up and I'm going to talk to you about that. Let's have a true interaction. You guys on the other side that are doing the role playing, don't be an ass, right? Like, be real, okay? You can push a little bit. That's okay. But be real. Don't do anything that is extreme the first time. Work towards extreme. As somebody gets more and more and more confident with what they're doing, we can handle more and more difficult situations. And that's our coaching day. Get out there, practice this a little bit. I would bet that if you just change the energy, the confidence, and the thought process, I'm up there trying to make a friend before I do anything else by being observant of what they're about, your closing ratios will go up immediately overnight. It'll be like a night and day difference if any of this stuff has sounded different to you than what you've done before. Now, you want to really learn this stuff. You really want to get great at it. You really want to find out how all of it works together. Come join us in Philadelphia for Top Rep Brush. We're going to talk about not just this, but how the dialogue changes at that time of year. We're getting everybody prepared in August for September, October, and November as you lead up into the winter time. You're in that fourth quarter, the final rush. You're going for the goal line. You are trying to win the championship. And maybe you've already hit all your numbers. How do you keep going? or maybe you're way behind on your numbers. How do you make up the difference? And how does the conversation change between the salesperson and the homeowner from March to August? Those are going to be two very different conversations. And also, how does the motivation change for a salesperson? And how does a leader coach their team at those different times of year? I'm super excited to share with them how to keep that team motivated at this time of year. This is one of those unique things. You're not going to see it anywhere else but Top Rep. And you will be shocked at the impact that it has on your team as you run throughout the end of the year. We're actually going to give you the template for it, let you run with it, and get out there and kick some butt. So if you want to come, it's August 23rd, 24th in Philadelphia. We're going to be there a day early. Come join us a day early. We're going to go to Freedom Hall, Liberty Bell, because that's really what this is all about. Gaining personal and financial freedom. Best paid profession in the industry is sales. We can all achieve that in what we do. We had a record breaker, by the way, this last week. Chuck, I don't know if you heard about this or not. One of our guys, you're not going to believe this number. One of our guys, 2 weeks ago, because I saw him at our customer appreciation deal, $1.9 million of sales in 1 week. All residential.
1.9 million.
No commercial at all. 1.9 million. That is a crazy number. We want to help other folks get crazy numbers like that. Hop on, make a comment, reach out to Chuck or I, get a coupon code from us. We'll help you out to get there. Come visit us out in Philadelphia, hang out with us, get in some dog fights, get the big ass Top Rep belt at the end, be the top dog, maybe earn a black shirt, and well, see you there.
All right.
Oh, last thing, topreptraining.com. Don't forget that. That's the big one, topreptraining.com. We'll see you guys there. Thanks for joining us here on our live. We're going to keep doing these. I don't know exactly which day. Chuck and I have both pretty serious schedules to get aligned. But once a week, we're going to hop on. Next week, we'll do pre-flight check. We're going to talk about when the homeowner answers the door, what that first part sounds like. We did a little bit today, but how it goes even further into rapport, credibility,
setting expectations.
Yeah, emotional attachment, preventing objections. That's the one. I love talking about that one because everybody wants to coach on how to handle an objection. Hey, I need 3 estimates, or I need to talk to my wife, or I need to do this. We'll get there too. But how do we make those go away before they ever happen? We want to talk about that next week on our pre-flight check. So thanks, everybody. Awesome having you. And we'll see you next week live here in Top Rep. I'm actually going to drop the link down there just in case anybody needs it. Boom. Awesome. Hey, thanks, Chuck. We'll talk to you later. I'll catch you in the green room here in just a second. Bye, everybody. Thanks a lot. Make comments, share feedback. We had so many people at this event I was at that were actually at Top Rep. They're like, dude, this is amazing. It has made such a difference in our business. It'll make a difference in yours. Get your butts there and have the best kick-ass end of your year you've ever had before. All right. Bye, guys. I think if I can get my mouse on, there we go. Perfect.